So the second speaker is Alberto Parada from the University of Liège in Belgium, and he will present directly from Zoom, and I directly leave the microphone to him. So welcome.
Welcome. Do you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. I begin, if you are agree.
You can start. You can share your screen and go on.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm delighted to be with you, and I thank you for the welcoming me to this conference during this session dedicated to the serious game in health. I will present you an immersive medical interview simulator project to improve patient-doctor communication and develop emotional intelligence during a medical interview. Here is the plan and the topics I will discuss with you.
Alberto, sorry. We don't see your screen. We have just the camera.
Oh, sorry. I resolve problem immediately. I try to resolve it.
There is probably a green button at the bottom of the screen.
Okay. Is it correctly like this?
Perfect. Yeah, now we see all the slide. Yeah, we just...
Okay.
Bottom right. In the button? Yeah. Go down? 1 centimeter down. That's me, huh? Okay. So, okay. I can click that. Okay, it's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. You heard me?
Yes.
Too. Okay. I begin. Thank you very much. Sorry for the first problem. I'm very happy to be with you, and I will present you an immersive medical interview simulator project to improve patient-doctor communication and develop emotional intelligence during a medical interview. Here is the plan and the topics I will discuss with you, probably too succinctly and superficially, and I apologize in advance for this frustration. We will end with a short video sequence that will give you an idea of the serious game to develop, which we continue to enrich. Emotional intelligence is an underdeveloped aspect in medical training. It remains a fundamental communicative competence, probably more for the doctors. 3 emotional reactions are natural: fight, flee, leave, avoid, or paralyze. The emotional intelligence allows to actually connect and synchronize the rational and emotional present in each one. Do not let the emotional overwhelm the rational. And the brain works best through repetition. Each game played equips and improves the mastery of emotions and their context, which could materialize in the game by levels of difficulty, score, certificates, or rewards. Serious play thus allows this capacitation and this empowerment, personalized training, and in a controlled manner. The solution is to adapt to circumstance, context, and people without ever compromising on what matters. This is perhaps herein lies the major challenge of the serious game. Be careful not to confuse intelligence quotient, emotional intelligence, and personality, which do not involve the same skills and abilities even though they are closely related. We focus on emotional intelligence. We must focus on specific skills we have we have identified some that serve as the backdrop to the serious game that we are developing. Emotional intelligence is made up of 4 fundamental skills. As an illustration, here are some tips to improve: self-awareness, knowing one's strengths; self-management, that judge and decide for yourself; and always, by way of illustration, here are some tips to improve faculty or fact of making value judgments on one's own action and on society, and supervising and maintaining the relationships between a physician and his patient. I will not expand the resources available to improve emotional intelligence. It's not the theme. To summarize, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand emotions, to manage your behavior and relationships. Competence can be developed and improved. The 4 areas of emotional intelligence skills are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. There are resources to assess and objectify emotional intelligence. Let's focus on a fundamental aspect of medical performance. It's the communication. Our simulation game is based on the concept of Miller's pyramids behavior to support clinical training. The serious game is a learning space, protected, free, self-determined, which is a part of a framework and a predetermined and reflective context according to the learning objectives set. We envision 7 categories of skills. We are also, of course, interested in the lived, felt, and emancipation of the player learning physician. The continuing education of doctors, but also the therapeutic education of patients, have been revolutionized by the use of innovative technologies. Virtual reality and the serious game in health are now acclaimed by all stakeholders and for a wide variety of use. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability for people to recognize, understand, and perceive emotions effectively in everyday life. Experts on emotional intelligence group these skills into 4 main categories. A tool to improve emotional intelligence while playing and have fun. This is the resume of our serious game objectives. The 4 pillars of learning lead to increased reasoning. The concept of serious medical games to be pinned are deliberate practice, voluntary training, or learning practices. When you embark on a complex task, you are not naturally good at it. Practice allows you to master it. The trial, the error, the correction, retry loop allows progressive control. The player acquires, develops, and masters abilities, personal skills, or learning goals. Adopting a reflective and critical posture allows medical learners to reflect and position their clinical practice. Socio-cognitive interaction allows knowledge to be deepened or enriched. All information is socially connoted. Cognitive activity is triggered, facilitated, or inhibited by social variables. Socio-cognitive processes are cognitive processes whose implementation involves the existence of a representation of a social conditions of their development. And the personalization of learning, each learner is different and unique at his own pace, his abilities. The personalization of learning is allowed by the serious game. Everyone plays, learns at their own level. We want to focus on the communication skills to be developed rather than the doctor's ability to make a diagnosis. We are working on a serious game that stimulates a medical consultation from an emotional skills perspective. First, the player, using his immersive avatar, assumes the role of the doctor. Later, he could take the roles of the patient. The scenario is based on the 5 phases of the medical consultation. Each scenario has a profile patient and a profile doctor, which are closely related to expected emotional skills in a context and an environment defined previously. Verbal and non-verbal language is used. Studies an impact of emotions. Actions and interactions overlap and influence each other with effects and impacts on the different medical skills required. I think this is a little video. Is it right? We seek to develop a serious game that simulates medical consultation from the perspective of emotional competencies and focus on the analysis of verbal and non-verbal language. You are going to see a prototype which does not yet benefit from the sound, the speech of the avatars. Speech and words will be colored by the speaker's emotions in addition to bodily and facial expressions, of course. Sorry, it's not very amazing without sound, but I'm not prepared to. You can observe the facial emotions, and the intonation of voice is too important. I think that's all. And at the end, the players, the doctor or the patient, could fill a formula with their perception of emotions and what they have seen during the serious game in which they have played. That's all. It's the same formula for doctors and the patients. Here are some landmarks and points of attention. And we can define and parameters anticipatively the emotions of the interlocutor avatars, and we plan to couple the emotions of the player, perhaps with sensor or video analysis of facial movements. It's a dream. Here is a brief overview of the relationship between the 5 facets of emotional intelligence and the 25 emotional skills identified, used in parallel for the teaching of the game. Technology-enhanced learning, TEAL, I say TEAL later, generally aims to be flexible, engaging, learner-centered, and interactive. And it can involve collaboration and communication. TEL is ideal for busy clinicians, both as learners and teachers. TEL allows participants to learn at a time and a place that they suit them. It takes a systematic approach to planning, development, implementation, and evaluation. Here are 10 helping principles. Here is the analytical model used to validate our game. And here is the summary of the framework and the theoretical and educational positioning of our serious games. And things.
Sorry, okay.
And that's
perfect
for you.
Your timing was perfect. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
So, do you have time just for one question? I don't know if there are questions.
I do have a question.
We have one question.
Do you consider it really more like a simulation or more like a serious game?
It is for you more a simulation or a serious game?
Sorry, I haven't not
It is
clearly
more,
understood.
a simulation or a serious game? What are you doing?
It's the both, a mix of both. First of all, it's a serious game, and it progressively transforms in simulation, in augmented simulation.
So it could be called a gamified simulation. What do you think?
Perhaps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you a lot again.
Thank you very much.